Welcome to the Deep Dive, your express route to being truly well-informed. Today, we're diving into something I know a lot of landowners think about. How do you get the best of both worlds? I mean, really, can you actually have productive farmland and support a really vibrant wildlife population, without sacrificing tons of time or money or giving up those crucial tillable acres?
Yeah, it's a common dilemma, isn't it?
Yeah.
Farmers want to help wildlife, maybe improve their hunting, but they feel stretched thin.
Exactly. Okay, let's unpack this. Many of you might be wondering if making your farm a wildlife haven while still, focusing on the cash crops is even practical or just a nice idea.
What's fascinating here is the synergy. It's not really about starting completely separate projects. It's more about making smart, sometimes subtle changes that actually help both your bottom line and the local wildlife.
Yeah.
So our mission today is to explore some relatively easy, pretty inexpensive wildlife management practices, stuff farmers can just weave into what they're already doing based on our sources. And these aren't just, feel-good things. They can genuinely improve your own hunting or even boost the value if you lease out hunting rights.
Right, practical benefits. So where do we start? What's the first area farmers can look at?
Well, let's think about those spots that honestly often get ignored, the edges of fields.
Ah, yeah, like right up against the woods, or where you make your turns with the tractor.
Exactly. Those strips often don't yield much crop anyway, do they?
No, you get shading from the trees or the soil's packed down hard. Feels like wasted ground sometimes.
Precisely. And that wasted ground, that's a prime opportunity. Our sources really highlight establishing perennial clover buffers here.
Clover buffers. Okay, why clover?
Well, clover's fantastic. It's palatable pretty much year-round for wildlife. Deer love it, rabbits too. And it's high-quality food. Plus, being perennial means it comes back every year.
Low maintenance. I like the sound of that.
Definitely. Once it gets going, it pretty much takes care of itself. You turn unproductive land into a food source.
But getting it established, does that mean bringing in equipment, tilling up those edges? That sounds like work.
Good question. And that brings us to a really ingenious, low-effort method called frost seeding.
Frost seeding. Okay, tell me more. Sounds chilly.
Huh. Well, the timing is key. You do it in late winter or, early spring when you're still expecting some hard freezes and thaws.
Okay.
You literally just broadcast the perennial clover seed right on top of the frozen or thawing ground along those field edges. No tilling needed.
Wait, just throw it on top. How does it get into the soil?
Here's where it gets really interesting.
Uh-huh.
You're using the natural freeze-thaw cycle. As the ground freezes, it heaves up a bit, creates little cracks and pockets.
Right.
Then as it thaws, the soil settles back down, and it naturally pulls those tiny clover seeds into contact with the soil.
Wow, okay. So nature does the planting for you.
Pretty much. It might take a bit to show results. Maybe you'll see some growth by summer, but give it a season or two, and that clover can really take hold.
So minimal effort, uses unproductive ground, creates a food source. That's a smart technique.
It really is. Transforming wasted strips into wildlife assets.
Okay, so we've tackled the edges. What about creating more specific spots to draw wildlife in? Maybe closer to hunting stands?
Yeah, absolutely. That's where small food plots come in, and emphasis on small.
Not huge fields, then?
No.
Yeah.
These aren't about replacing cash crops. They're strategic tools designed to attract animals to predictable locations. Great for hunting.
So the why is better hunting opportunities, basically,
Right.
and providing good food, I guess.
Both, exactly. High-quality forage, yes, but also influencing movement. Think about placement. You know your land. You know where deer tend to bed down, right? And you know where the big food sources like your crop fields are. You put these small plots somewhere in between.
Like an interception point.
Precisely. A perfect example.
We're
During deer season, you've got a small plot near a bedding area.
Right.
Deer heading towards your main cornfield late in the day might stop at that plot first while there's still daylight.
Giving you a chance you might not get if they went straight to the big field after dark. Clever.
Exactly. Now, a few things to keep in mind when setting these up.
Like what?
Wind direction is huge. Think about where you'll place your stand relative to the plot and the prevailing winds, scent control, access routes.
Standard hunting strategy stuff.
Right. And size, seriously, less than half an acre can be super effective. Maybe even just a clearing and some brush or non-valuable trees. You're not taking tillable land out of production.
Okay, good point. What about what to plant? Does that matter much?
It does, especially thinking year-round. Summer, for instance, can be a tough time for deer nutritionally. Natural stuff might be lower quality than.
I hadn't really thought about summer being a low period.
It can be. So planting things that thrive then is key.
Yeah.
Our sources mention a few good ones. Soybeans are great, like 20% crude protein, which is actually more than deer need. Very rich food.
Okay.
Grain sorghum, easy to grow. Lots of animals like it. Provides food and cover. Cowpeas, lab, both legumes. High protein, really good forage, especially in warmer weather.
Got it.
And sunflowers. High oil content, pretty hardy. They do well in lots of places. And if we connect this to the bigger picture, these plots aren't just feeding stations. They're about shaping animal behavior, keeping them healthy, and really boosting your chances for observation or a successful hunt.
That makes a lot of sense. It's proactive management. Okay, we've covered field edges and small plots. What about wooded areas? Lots of farms have woodlots.
Yeah, and often those woods are, well, they're just woods. Maybe some timber value, but not necessarily great habitat.
What do you mean? Trees are habitat, aren't they?
They are, but a dense, mature hardwood forest with a closed canopy can actually be kind of a green desert on the forest floor.
Huh. Green desert.
Yeah, not much sunlight gets down, so there's very little undergrowth, the stuff deer need for bedding cover or turkeys and rabbits need for nesting.
Okay, I see. So what's the fix?
This is where something called timber stand improvement, or TSI, comes in. This raises an important question. How can we make those existing woods work harder for wildlife without, massive logging operations?
TSI, timber stand improvement. What does that look like on the ground?
It's about being selective. The main idea is to open up that canopy a bit. You focus on keeping the good trees, your mass producers like oaks, walnuts, hickories, the ones dropping acorns and nuts.
Right, the food trees.
Exactly. Then you remove some of the less desirable trees. Maybe they're immature, or species that don't offer much wildlife value, or they're just crowding out the good ones.
So you're essentially thinning it out strategically.
Precisely. You're letting sunlight hit the forest floor.
And that sunlight makes the difference.
Huge difference. It stimulates the growth of grasses, forbs, shrubs, all that low-level vegetation. You can get growth up to, 3 feet high.
Ah, instant cover.
Instant cover. Makes deer feel secure, encourages them to bed down on your property. Plus, it's fantastic nesting habitat for turkeys, quail, rabbits. Improves things for lots of species.
That sounds really impactful. Is it complicated to figure out which trees to cut?
It can seem daunting, but you don't have to be a forester. State forestry agencies often offer free advice, or you can hire a private consultant. They can walk your property and help develop a simple plan.
Good to know there's help available. Okay, so that covers the woods. Any other simple strategies?
Yeah, a couple more really easy ones. First, think about after harvest.
Okay.
Just leaving the crop stubble standing in the field for as long as possible. Don't rush to till it under immediately.
Why is that? Just saving a trip across the field?
That too, maybe. But it offers real ecological benefits. That stubble provides great nesting cover for ground birds and small game through the fall and winter.
Okay, cover. Makes sense.
It also helps prevent soil erosion from wind and rain. Keeps the soil in place.
Right.
And as that plant matter breaks down slowly, it returns nutrients to the soil naturally. So, good for wildlife, good for soil health.
Win-win. Okay, what's the other easy strategy?
This one's more during the growing season, especially if you have tall crops like corn or sorghum. It involves cutting some strategic paths through the crop.
Cutting paths? Why would you do that? Taking crop out?
Well, it's more of a hunting tactic, really. Tall corn is amazing cover.
Yeah.
Right? Deer feel safe in there.
Definitely. Hard to hunt them in there, though.
Exactly. So cutting a few narrow paths, sometimes called sundarrows, does two things. First, it can actually funnel deer movement along those paths. They often prefer the path of least resistance.
Ah, okay. Like creating little travel corridors.
Yep. And second, it makes those areas huntable. You set up a stand overlooking one of these paths. During rifle season, maybe, it gives you a clear line of sight when they step out or cross the path.
That's clever. Using the crop itself to channel movement towards your stand.
It works surprisingly well. And here's a little bonus tip from the sources.
Yeah.
Plant those paths you cut with clover.
Oh, nice. So they walk the path, find food, and maybe hang out there a bit longer.
Exactly. Encourages them to linger in your shooting lane.
So what does this all mean for your existing crops? It sounds like a few simple cuts, maybe a bit of clover seed, can seriously upgrade your hunting setup without much fuss.
Pretty much. Smart, small adjustments.
Okay, wow. We've covered quite a bit. Let's recap quickly. We talked about using those unproductive field edges for perennial clover buffers.
Right, using frost seeding.
And creating those small strategic food plots to draw animals in predictably.
Focusing on placement and the right plants.
Improving the woods with timber stand improvement, letting that sunlight in.
Creating that vital understory cover
And then the simple stuff, like leaving crop stubble after harvest.
for nesting, erosion control, and soil health.
And finally, cutting those strategic paths, those sundarrows, through tall crops for better hunting access.
Yep. Maybe adding clover to sweeten the deal.
All methods designed to boost wildlife without taking away from the main farming operation.
That's the core idea. By making your property better for wildlife, you're also making it more attractive, potentially more valuable too, especially if hunting leases are a factor. And you're doing it without sacrificing your cash crop production. If we connect this to the bigger picture, it really highlights that a truly productive farm looks at all its resources, the natural ones, the cultivated ones,
Yeah.
how they can work together.
A more integrated, resilient landscape. I like that.
Exactly.
So, final thought for everyone listening, as you look at your own land, maybe think about this. How might integrating even just one of these pretty simple, wildlife-friendly practices do more than just boost nature on your farm? Could it maybe unlock some new enjoyment or even economic opportunities that you hadn't really considered before? Something to think about.